All right, Rob Brown here with you on this Friday, August the 9th. Holy cow, August 9th. Man,
August 9th.
It's a great day, man. Got a lot of fun. Got a great lineup today. The College Football Friday Roundtable. Doug Dean, Frank Duffy, Dave Tompkins on special assignment in the Low Country. We're going to have a special guest, Arkansas Razorback legend. He's on my Mount Rushmore of the greatest running backs in SEC history, in college football for that matter. Herschel Walker, Bo Jackson, Darren McFadden, and Derrick Henry. And we're going to have the guy from North Little Rock, Darren McFadden, join us here at about 25 after on this first hour. So, great show in store. Smash
Hour
that
of
subscribe
power
button in the bottom right-hand corner. And
Hour of
hit
power.
the power hour. It's like Dr. Robert Schuller, the hour of power.
No, I was thinking more about. I was thinking more about The Price is Right in the hour of power. Okay,
the power hour. All right, get ready, get pen and paper handy because we are going to have a great time today, touching all 16 in the SEC. Thanks for watching.
Sidelines with Rob Brown. Talk sporty to me.
All right, got a great Hollywood Squares lineup today. Jonathan Winters in the left-hand bottom corner. Colonel Lynn on the right. Got a good one going. Guys, what a week we've had. A lot of things have popped up on the radar. One of them is Ohio State is charging people money now to go to football practice. I mean, this is getting pretty crazy. And then I'm hearing chatter out there, guys, and y'all probably are hearing it too. Doak S. Campbell Stadium, which the Bowden name should be on that stadium somewhere.
Yeah.
They're talking about changing it to a corporate sponsor. And the question was brought up by our good friend Chuck Oliver, Southern Sports Today. I listen to his show every day. Chuck said, Jordan and Hare, Jordan won us a lot of games, and Hare, he did great things too. But I don't think anything's off the table right now. So I'll start with Doug Dean. Could you imagine Buc-ee's Stadium? I mean, is that coming?
Well, first of all,
Duff,
it's been a minute. How is Brian Kelly and the family doing in Baton Rouge?
Hey, we got the number 3 recruiting class. He can talk however he wants.
Yeah,
absolutely. And we're nipping at your heels. We're coming.
Yeah, y'all are. I feel you back there. Y'all stole one from us about 2 weeks ago.
Take her in the back door.
It's the SEC just keeps the rich get richer. But to your point, Rob, we should by now, 3 years after all of this anarchy commenced. I heard on a podcast, and this jarred me. I think I had a sense that it was the magnitude was this huge, but when Texas and Oklahoma, just those two, bolted to the SEC, and who can blame them, 33 teams followed, changed conferences. 33. That's hard for me to call it good, that degree of disruption, especially if you're the Pac-12. But so if that can happen, Rob Brown and Brendan and Duff, the legendary Duff, horseman that he is, thoroughbred man that's going to get rich at it, then why would we doubt that there could be a Buc-ee's Stadium or a Minnesota Vikings college stadium? I mean, think big, think crazy.
But don't you think? Sorry, Frank. I was just to throw it back to you. But don't you guys think that as we go to this, whatever we're going to, that this, we are a minor league of NFL The NFL is loving this, by the way, because they don't got to pay for anything. It's not a bad like XFL, not a bad X, whatever the hell they're doing. And corporate sponsorships got to be a part of that because that's what made the NFL flourish. And we saw this with NFL teams. We're seeing all the things that we talked about 3 months ago, aren't we? Free agency, potential salary caps. You got the franchise tags being bandied about. All of these now you can shoot. I'd paid if I could go to Gator practice. I'll tell you that right now to get some access, which I don't get anymore. But Frank, don't you think that and Rob's always been a big proponent of this, is that the free market's going to reset itself here. Frank, talk to me about what you think.
I'm a big free market guy. I'm a big proponent of it. As a person that is an investor, and Rhonda and I joke, we're not real estate agents, we're professional gamblers, because that's what you do when you start up every morning and you got zero and you're starting from that, right? As business owners. But you have to retain the traditions. I mean, I would join the protest at Coach Jordan's statue if they took his name off of Jordan Hare. I mean, it's some unthinkable things. I mean, to go to Boudreaux's butt paste Tiger Stadium to watch my LSU Tigers play would be a travesty. It would be, I love Ty Graves. My buddy owns Raising Cane's. But I don't want to go to a game in Raising Cane Stadium. I just don't. There has to be some things that are off the financial table. We can only push the money so far, and I'm all for it. And look, it's the Wild Wild West. Somewhere in the bowels of LSU, there's a printing press that's printing out $100 bills that would make Billy Cannon and his counterfeiting scheme in 1980 just blush. So I'm all for the money. But at some point, you've got to stop and keep the traditions. Like in a couple of days, I'm going to go to West Point. Rhonda and I are going down. We're here in the RV in Saratoga Springs, up for the thoroughbred sale and for the racing. But we're going down on Monday to watch the march back by the cadets from Beast Barracks to their start as cadets at West Point. It's all about the tradition, and you cannot monkey with that when you're talking about the vaunted cathedrals of college football.
Hey, Duff.
I'm with you.
You have a gift as an announcer, in-stadium announcer. So I've forgotten the line, but in Death Valley, in Tiger Stadium, how does that announcer welcome the crowd in there and refer to Death Valley? What does
the sun has found its home in the western sky, and it is Saturday night in Death Valley. And that's my good buddy, Dan Bornay. I'm good buddies with him. Every other time I go back to Baton Rouge, we visit Ryan, Dan and I will go have pool boys over at Phil's Oyster. And we had him on the show, right, Rob? He
was fantastic. He's got a great, haunting voice.
He does. Duff, if for that alone and many other things, and I love going to Baton Rouge. I didn't like it the last go round so much, but if for that alone, you can't rename the stadium. I don't care what kind of private investor revenue that brings, but they're going to probably be programs with lesser traditions, still proud programs that have to consider that. And I was going to tell Brendan, the first time I really got to share this roundtable mic with the great Buddy Martin, and Rob will remember this, he sort of jarred me back in my seat when he talked about if we're not careful, we're messing with the soul, what he called the soul of college football.
Exactly.
It's stuck in my mind, and we've softened that, but there's still a line that can be crossed, even though we're all trying to prop this up. Rob?
Yeah, I was going to say, yesterday I was all over. I was with Chris Aiken, our good friend, Web-Footed Kennels, one of our sponsors. What an unbelievable day I had up there with him. Unbelievable facility, folks. Go to Web-Footed Kennel. You're looking for a great hunting dog. You want to get it trained, puppies. Him and his wife, Janet. He's got 9 people working for him. So I'm meeting with him, and I'm driving back, and I have to go through Wynn. I have to go by Greenway. They own 31 John Deere dealerships out of Wiener, Arkansas. I go to Greenway. I walk in to pick up our riding mower. So I'm in there, and I meet Robert Jones and Christy. And Robert's watching the show now. This guy's a Notre Dame fan, served 21 years in the Army at Fort Riley. And I said, you were in the artillery, wasn't you? And he goes, yes, sir. I go, I can't hear you.
I was gonna say. You go, I'm sorry. What'd you say? What'd you say?
And this guy's awesome. I've never seen a facility like Greenway in Wynn, Arkansas. So he's watching the show right now. Hey, it was a privilege to meet you, man. And he's a Notre Dame fan, good Catholic from Elkhart, Indiana. And Doug, I said, you know, John Mingelt is from Elkhart, Indiana. One of Auburn's greatest basketball players. Played in the NBA, did the Bulls games for years. But man, we're blessed. We're picking up viewers all over, and I picked up a bunch more yesterday just asking about the show. We're an SEC show, but you know we're going to talk about the other schools, and that's what I love about it. I'm going to throw this one at y'all. Kroger got $22 million that they spent with Kentucky. Okay, Commonwealth Stadium, but Jordan. Remember, Doug, when we were kids, when Governor Wallace went there and said, he goes, henceforth and forever, this shall be known as the Jordan Hare Stadium. It was so cool. And Shug wore a white dinner jacket, tux jacket, like James Bond, leaning on the rail. The only active coach at that time ever to have a stadium named after him. Yeah. As far as anyone trying to take the name Bryant Denny away.
Oh, good luck.
Dr. Denny, back in the Depression, kept the doors open in Tuscaloosa by bringing kids in from the Northeast to the business school at Alabama. Without Dr. Denny, when he started at Alabama in 1912, they had about 500 students. When he left in the 30s, they had over 5,000. History matters, Doug.
My grandfather was one of them.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, we got to be real careful. Look, I don't love money. You should never say that. One was the angriest Christ got was the money changers in the temple. So
the place
tradition matters. But guys, let's talk about it before Darren McFadden gets on, and he's over there stretching out right now. He called me yesterday. I got to tell you this. That's unusual for a rock star like that. He was like, man, thank y'all so much for having me on the show. I'm like, whoa, hold on. Thank you.
We are not worthy.
We're not worthy. So I'm texting Tim Horton this morning, his coach. And he said, man, I'd love to join you. But I was like, oh, yeah, he's in the submarine right now at the Air Force Academy, practice every morning. And they got all the guys coming in, the new recruits at the Air Force Academy, the new students. The new students. So anyway, y'all are getting me so fired up. I'm going to throw this one to you, Doug.
Hey, before you do, Rob, real quick.
You got to catch me on the breathe.
No, I don't mean to be rude, but interjecting because we're so close to the kickoff of the season. And one of the things, every fan base, we just hold our breath. Can we get out of camp without key injuries?
Yeah.
And Texas and OU, I think Texas has probably had the rougher week, but their second team SEC sophomore running back CJ Baxter out for the year, unfortunately, LCL and PCL. So Godspeed to him. I hope he gets fully recovered. Texas does not need any setbacks entering the SEC the first year. I think OU is also dinged up at the wide receiver position. So I just wish every player period gets to the opening of the season without any significant injury.
Well, it's the yin and the yang, man. It's how much do you push them? How much contact do you do? You don't want to go into the season with them being a little light and not having contact. That's one of the biggest things. Rob, Doug, y'all both know this, Brandon. One of the biggest things that happens early in the season, the reason why defenses are normally behind is that their tackling skills are not that good. You'll see a lot of broken tackles in that first and second week because they're not just used to that real full contact. So, that's a big decision that coaches have to make of how much you push them. It's no different than whether you let your guys play on special teams or not. And look, it doesn't matter what you decide. You're going to get second guess no matter what happens of how much contact work you do.
That's why there's an argument, Frank, Duff. I'm supposed to only call you Duff. That's our deal.
It's in my contract.
It's in the contract.
If you're fortunate, Auburn and several others are fortunate that they don't open with really – got to be careful saying that. Watch Alabama A&M give us hell. But if you open with a couple or three games that should be prohibitive wins, you're a prohibitive favorite, then maybe you can save some of that live tackling effort and coaching for the early season.
Yep.
Well, that's what we're hearing every day. No more two-a-days, they say. But there's ways you can get around that. But getting soft is not the path to being great.
No,
Wouldn't
you
y'all
got to
agree?
work them.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron.
Says so in the good book.
That's right.
I mean, my take on these, it's interesting, because it's like, if you're going to get hurt, right, you're probably going to it's wear and tear, most likely. Most injuries are wear and tear. They're not, on the spot. Maybe there was a catalyst on the contact that made the injury worse or whatever. But I'm always like, man, if my guys are going to get hurt, I want those guys to kind of go down early because then I can sort of figure out a replacement or at least get somebody some reps. Right, because that's what it's all about in college football. I'm just dovetailing on what you all are saying about how we're changing. Practice time is changing. Time is changing. Even the dialogue and how we talk and how we describe it. Billy Napier's on there, the other day talking about, well, so-and-so is running 22 miles an hour and everyone's running. Like now we're talking about miles per hour. Like what shows that? Like, okay, I got it. Like it's the new thing. They come out and they tell us, well, we're lean muscle or 500 pounds of this. You know what I mean? Okay, great. But we all know in the SEC, it's all about staying. It's not all. It's really a lot about staying healthy and next man up. Talk about tradition. That's where that came from. Next guy up. How deep are we? And is that guy ready to go? The great teams, Alabama, Florida, whatever, they just replace, right?
Correct.
Georgia. That's why they're so great right now. It's like you look at how do you beat Georgia? It's really hard when your third and fourth guy down the list is going to start everywhere else. Yeah,
Correct.
Let me throw this at y'all. You guys, remember we had our guest on back talking about, basically it was in the past you had the second and third guys on the SEC rosters were so good, that was an advantage. And now a lot of those guys are checking out and going in the portal. Right. But you know what's crazy is you mentioned LSU's got the third or fourth recruiting class in the country. It's Ohio State, Bama, Georgia, LSU, Auburn. That is a testament to how important football is, but it also, you can criticize football all you want, but look how much money it brings in. Oh. You win a national championship and you look at the chart on enrollment and fundraising and giving, but you know what's crazy? I had some guys at one of the SEC schools tell me our best years tend to come off of our worst seasons. Because people are like, okay, we better invest. But you know what I'm hearing from NIL people, friends of mine going, I hate it like you, Rob, on principle, but I'm going to start supporting it because if we don't, it's going to be we're going to be a dinosaur.
Well, I'll give you two examples that Nick Saban was exactly what you're talking about. First of all, we had just come off the Curly Hallman, Jerry DiNardo 8-year baton death march of
the glory days. Yes.
Yeah. When you lose back-to-back to Vanderbilt, things are going really badly. Okay. And so Saban walked in, and before Saban even coached one game, he did something that no other LSU coach, with the exception of one time that Les Miles did. Your boy came in and actually talked to the Atlanta alumni group and said, you know what, folks, y'all want to play big boy football? Put a crowbar in your checkbook and start paying some money in. So that was before he'd even coached it down. And secondly, you talk about the winning effect on what it does to enrollment and money that comes into a school. They teach a class in marketing, the Nick Saban effect at the capstone. They teach a class in Alabama, at the University of Alabama, on the effect of what Nick Saban and his winning did to that university and the enrollment and how far flung the enrollment was. The driver of all universities is football.
Yeah, it is the front porch. Look, let's do this. Let's bring in a 6'3", 205-pound freshman from North Little Rock, Arkansas for the Razorbacks, Darren McFadden. Darren, hey, man, thank you so much for taking time to join us this morning.
Morning. How's it going, fellas?
Morning,
You're not worthy, Darren.
Hey, Doug and I still have a little PTSD from 2006. You and J.J. Metters showed up at the Plains for the 11 o'clock timeout game. Gus Malzahn was your offensive coordinator that year. And But I still, nothing beats your freshman year. I'm up at Hardy on the Spring River in Arkansas for fall break. I go get some road sodas at about lunchtime, and you popped off a 70-yard run. And I said, that's the best running back I've seen since Bo Jackson. Monday at the quarterback club in Birmingham, Coach Dye said, they got him one out in Fayetteville at McFadden. He's the best I've seen since Bo Jackson.
Hey,
So,
Rob, at least
glad
he
to have
didn't
you.
at least he didn't make your kid cry. My 6-year-old
Oh, man.
came out of Tiger
my apologies,
Stadium
my
after a triple overtime in 2007.
2007,
She didn't
50
stop,
to 48.
she didn't stop crying until we got to New Orleans because she thought you ruined her national championship opportunity. I just let you know.
I tell everybody, that was probably one of my favorite games ever right there, man. And I remember that game with Rob down in Auburn, man. I remember like it was yesterday. We were number 2 in the country, and that early kickoff, 11 a.m. kickoff, and it was something Coach Nutt told us, like, we're gonna go down here, it'll be early, they're gonna be still sleepwalking. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna hit them before they even know it. And I remember that game. My first 3 carries went for 2 touchdowns and 111 yards.
Crazy.
Yeah. Doug,
well, you went back and played with 3 touchdowns and 300 yards. I remember that.
Darren, Doug Dean in Birmingham. I might be an Auburn man, but I'm a Darren McFadden fan, and Felix Jones. All those guys.
Appreciate it.
Just
Peyton Hillis.
You're a little rock guy. You had to go say Pig Sue when you were playing college football, didn't you? Tell us about your recruitment, because I know that Alabama, maybe Tennessee, even Auburn were after you hard, and no shock that you stayed home with the Piggies. But tell us a little about your recruitment and that whole decision.
For me, man, growing up in Arkansas as a kid, watching the University of Arkansas, that was everything that we looked up to growing up. Arkansas was our professional team. The Razorbacks, they were our professional team, and so for me, I don't feel like it was another school in the country. I had other SEC schools recruiting me as well. I think I committed after my sophomore season, I think, or maybe my juniors. I think it was my sophomore, going into my junior season or sophomore, something. Whichever one it was, but I recruited early. I was talking to my high school head coach, John Mays, at Oak Grove High School back in North Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas, but North Little Rock is where I went to high school, so everybody always says that. But he was telling me, like, you want to go. There's no sense of wasting your time, no sense of wasting anyone else's time. For me at that point, I was like, I actually had a visit scheduled for Alabama. And, at the time, their running back coach was Sparky Woods, and I just let them know that I decided I wasn't going to cancel it. I wasn't going to make it there. I decided to cancel my visit, and I was committed going to the University of Arkansas. Needless to say, he wasn't very happy about that at the time. I'm sure it made it hurt even worse as years went on. But I was hands down the Razorback from the day they offered me a scholarship. I didn't see another school in the country for me. So that's one big thing that I see now. Coming from Arkansas, you don't get a lot of legit D1 SEC recruits and things. You have a lot of ball players across the state of Arkansas. It's few in between that you get legit SEC guys and things like that. And so, being a hometown kid, I wanted to go to the University of Arkansas, put on for my state for sure.
Yeah, unbelievable. And some of those games, I don't know if Houston Coach Nutt. By the way, we had Coach Nutt on the show some weeks ago, and we just mentioned your name and Felix's name. It brings a big old smile to his face.
Coach Nutt, my guy, man. That's my guy for sure.
You guys make a lot of money for these head coaches, if you know what I mean. But man, I don't know. Arkansas was one of the forerunners of the use of what you guys call the wild hog formation. And you played some quarterback in high school, and I don't have your passing stats at Arkansas in front of me, but there were some big in that game Frank mentioned. I think you hit Peyton Hillis down the middle for a TD throw. So just tell us what it felt like to get that much responsibility. We know you could run the ball. NFL clocked you at a ridiculous 4.27. That's up there with Bo Jackson camp stats, but you were a load to deal with. But tell us what it felt like, how exciting it must have been to get in that wild hog formation.
For me growing up, so originally we called it the Wildcat. That was the original name for it. I think it was Danny Nutt that gave it that name. I don't know how the name came about, but we ended up changing it to the Wild Hog because we were playing. We were getting ready to play Kentucky, and so we changed it up to the Wild Hog, and everybody took it and ran with it. But I
Y'all
still
were
like to originally call
revolutionary.
it the. I
That was
like
a
to call it the
revolutionary
Wildcat
approach.
still.
Yeah.
But growing up, man, I tell people I've played just about every position on the football field, from playing tight end, quarterback, running back, receiver, defensive end, linebacker, safety. I've played just about every position there was. Actually coming out of high school when Arkansas was recruiting me, Bobby Allen was a safety coach at the time, and he was recruiting me for free safety as well. But coming out, everybody was saying that you should go to Arkansas, play free safety. They have a lot of big name safeties, guys like Steve Atwater, Kenoy Kennedy, Ken Hamlin, those guys coming through there. And so everybody was like, you should, it'll be great for you. You have safeties that come through there all the time. And, basically telling me not to play running back. So I'm like, okay, I can play running back. So I want to play running back. So that was a thing that happened in college and everything. But growing up, I like I say, playing every position. I felt comfortable playing quarterback. All my life, I wanted to play quarterback growing up. I thought I was going to be a quarterback. I got to high school. Me and my high school coach, we kind of disagreed about a certain play and some footwork, which looking back on it, he was definitely right at the time. He was definitely right. And I just felt like I felt more comfortable doing it this way. But he was like, well, just go play running back then. I was like, well, all right, I'll play running back. And at the time, I was going to be a backup quarterback anyway. And so because I started quarterback, was a senior at the time, and I was a sophomore. And so he told me to go play running back. And I ended up going to play running back. And we ran a wishbone offense in high school. And so our fullback, C.C. Macon at the time, he was our load carrier my sophomore year. And he was a load to carry, but I was able to get some carries behind him, and made all freshmen, all sophomore state team that year, and from there I just kind of took off. My coaches knew in junior high I played quarterback and everything, so they knew that I could play quarterback, so they had faith in me playing quarterback. So anytime we went to the shotgun, I would be our shotgun quarterback. I could actually pass the ball.
Yeah.
I wasn't just a runner and everything. And so it was a joy playing quarterback. And Danny Nudd, Houston Nudd, Bobby Allen, those guys recruited me all through high school. They would come and watch me play basketball, probably even came to some track meets. And so they knew the type of athlete I was, and they had confidence in my ability going out there and making those plays and making the right decision when I was on the field.
You love track and field. What was your favorite event?
Oh man, believe it or not, I was a track guy, but I wasn't a big fan of track. But I would say 100 meter was probably my thing. My fastest time was a 10.75. That was as a sophomore, and so my junior and senior year, I really didn't get a chance to run track, and so
Scorching.
I was pretty much
Kind of scary. What if you had focused on track?
I feel like that. I feel like if I actually focused on track, trained for track, and I probably could have actually ran pretty good times.
I would agree with that.
I know one thing. You ran 10.5 when you had cornerbacks chasing you. I know that. Hey, Darren, I got to ask you, man. I got to ask you. So I was a big Saints fan growing up in the 70s, and we had Chuck Muncie and Tony Galbraith, and they went by the name of Thunder and Lightning. And you had Felix Jones in that backfield with you, and you guys were a hell of a tandem. Can you speak to what it was like to be in such a talented backfield, Peyton Hillis as well? What was it like to have that type of a backfield room at the college level and to have that much speed and that much breakaway ability and that much power to run over guys? Y'all didn't even run around them. You ran through linebackers, man. I mean, it was just impressive. And by the way, I'm going to let you know, I'm ready to do a recount on that 2006 Heisman because that's bullshit. I'm just letting you know.
I'm with you on that one there, man.
Ridiculous.
It was great having running mates back there like Felix Jones and Peyton Hillis, man. Those guys there, you get pushed every day. Not even, just trying to push each other. Those guys were hard workers. We all worked hard. And so, you see one guy working hard, you're not going to slack off. So it was just always just a friendly competition for us. And me and Felix came in together as freshmen. So it was always like, we worked hard. We would never we were always competing, but it was always a friendly competition. Yeah, and so we pushed each other. And for us coming in, we were behind 2 or 3 seniors. Peyton was a sophomore. I knew Peyton from being playing in Arkansas and being an Arkansas kid because I can remember in high school, right? I can remember
the Wampus
in high
Cats,
school,
by the way.
I would always look up stats Friday night on Saturday mornings, and it was my sophomore year. His senior year, I was like, okay, I rushed for 200 yards. I know, I should be leading the state in rushing right now. And I open the paper Saturday morning and see Peyton, and he got 17 carries, 300 yards, and 4 touchdowns. I'm like, dang, I don't know how I'm gonna catch this guy right here, man. So, I was very familiar with Peyton coming into school, and I was a big fan of him. I had seen him play a lot, and I was a big fan of him. And getting there and meeting Felix, and just being around him, we ended up forming a great bond, man. Still great friends to this day, and it was just a joy to be back there playing with those guys, and it was always fun and friendly competition. And I would say, like you say, I tell people, they always say that he's a fast guy. He likes to run around and use his speed, but I tell people at the end of the day, man, I enjoyed the contact, so I didn't mind dropping my shoulder.
I know you did, man. You didn't run out of bounds on purpose, brother. I can tell you that. I know that.
Darren, you were part of this. Is so fun. Thank you for coming on, Darren. Really, truly, I hope a bunch of your Hog fans are tuned in. I know that Rob Memphis, that's right in the wheelhouse of Arkansas fan base, but what you were in a way when you played and maybe the 10 or 15 years prior to your career at Arkansas, that most of us fans a good barometer, a metric was if our running back, our featured running back had a 100-yard game, you like your chances to win if you can throw the ball at all. And here's Darren McFadden comes along, 190 yards, that 2006 freshman year, 4 games, 180 plus yards. Most people that are fair consider that one of the bigger snubs in the Heisman race. Nothing against Troy Smith, but when you got Ohio State marketing behind you in the regional voting, that's tough. And you need to see. Yeah. I hope you get to visit with the great Peyton Manning because he can certainly empathize with the lack of
Joe Hamilton. My buddy Joe Hamilton.
Fairness in the voting at the Heisman. Nothing against Woods.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Doug's frozen.
Darren McFadden against Nick Saban. Can you hear me, Rob?
Yeah, you're better now. Yeah.
Okay.
That was Troy Smith from Ohio State trying to cut you off.
195 yards against the Nick Saban defense. 321 yards against South Carolina that year. Houston Nutt wasn't trying to save you for the NFL, was he?
No, I never even thought. I tell people I didn't feel like I carried the ball a lot at school, man. I felt like it was average carries, normal carries for a running back, but
that's because you averaged 80 yards a carry.
But he definitely, he didn't mind if we needed the game on the line. He didn't mind, having me put it on my shoulders, and that was something that I didn't mind taking that on. It's funny. I always tell people, me and Felix had the relationship to where that if we had a hot hand going, you go ahead and go. You go. This is what I'm seeing out there. This is what I'm seeing out there. And if you look at this South Carolina game, I think he probably hit a couple of big runs before I actually started hitting some big runs. And I feel like we just feed off of each other's energy great. And it was just. It was always a joy being back there running beside him, man.
It was no break.
And that 2007 game, Frank, to his chagrin, he's gracious enough to bring it up because I think it was easily the best college football game that year. If there was a better one, I'd like to see it. Maybe one of the most exciting of your excellent career. But look at that. These players, young players, keep playing. Don't get down on yourself. That game, you remember how it opened, don't you, Darren? The kickoff, fumbled kickoff,
2 back to back.
Right.
So you just kept chopping wood, and LSU had a tremendous game. That's one of those games. If you're not an Arkansas or LSU fan, you feel like, man, I hate that anybody loses this game.
It's still a good game to watch, And that was the craziest thing. Like, of course, being a player, you always tell yourself, short memory, go to the next play. So after the first one, I'm like, okay, I have to go ahead. Then after the second one, I'm like, man. So now it's a little bit, it's kind of on. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You got to start getting it together a little bit here. And I think they came back to me again, and I ended up securing that one and not fumbling. So I'm kind of like, all right, I got the ball. Let's get something going again.
Casey Dick had a great game too, for real.
Oh yeah, he did,
Yeah, he
man.
did.
I tell people on the one long run that I took off, he made the block for me. You know, I don't know what it was, but I could see. I forget. I think his name was Chad coming back. I could see him when he took off, whatever. The way my legs were moving, I just knew I wasn't going to make it. And I made eye contact with Casey as I'm running, and he's just running like yeah. I'm like, no, he's behind me. I'm like, get him.
Yeah.
And he probably like, oh, he came back.
Chad Jones, first round pick of the New York Giants.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
You quarterback made a hell of a block.
Right.
Darren, I don't
give
want to
that
bring up a
touchdown to
sore
Casey for
subject,
sure.
but because you did so well in the NFL, and I imagine you figure out how to pay the bills these days. But your NIL valuation, if we had that in 2006,
God.
I figure 1.5 million coming in.
I would say, man, being an Arkansas kid, going to Arkansas, hands down through and through Arkansas, I think it would have definitely been lucrative for me.
I think you could have got Walmart discounts.
I think Stevens would have put together a capital investment fund. I mean, but Darren, here's one thing that I've seen it in the questions that Frank has asked and Doug's asked, and that is you love the University of Arkansas. You are why we love college football, because you love them. Look at that background. By the way, that is a badass.
Right. Oh yeah.
I don't know where you got that, but I'm over in Parkin right now, Arkansas, in Cross County at the Cherry Farm. I'm going back to Memphis after the show, but a lot of Razorbacks in this area, a lot of them. They literally, during the fall, when they're in those combines, guys like Robert Hill and Jim Cherry used to do it, Donnie Raines and all, they watch the games now. These ain't the old tractors our grandfathers had.
Right.
They've got TVs watching the Hogs play. It is a spiritual connection in this state. It is absolutely, and it's so powerful. I go to Red River Ford Toyota over in Wynn. Rusty Howard and Sean McClish and Brandon Boger, these guys, they are, and Justin Wynn, the general manager, eaten up with the Rays. Doesn't matter. They want you to win every game, but there is a connection. I remember my Aunt Nancy, when I was 8 or 9 years old, they moved back after 8 years in Stuttgart. The first thing Aunt Nancy said, she said, on a football Saturday when the Razorbacks are playing, you cannot go out to eat in Stuttgart. I said, why? Because nobody worked. They're watching the Hogs. We love that. And I'm so glad you live in like McKinney or north of Dallas. We were just out there for media days, but you come back to Arkansas a lot. Tim Horton is my good friend. I've known, I told you, for 10 years. That's how I got in touch with you. He loves you. And I texted Coach Nutt and said, hey, spur of the moment, if you're available, jump on with us. But I know he's got a crazy schedule, but you're why we love college football. We need more Darren McFaddens in today's world. What is the message that you would say if you were addressing the Arkansas team today after a long day of practice about the future of college football?
I definitely appreciate that. And I just want to touch on the fans of the state of Arkansas, man. Like you said, I think that just speaks volume for how passionate the fans of the state of Arkansas are. Win, lose, or draw, they're going to be there. Definitely want to see us win. They're like me. You know, it hurts when the Razorbacks lose, but they definitely want to see us win. That just speaks volume for the support that we have across the state of Arkansas for the university. And the thing I would tell players nowadays, I've been through a situation where I had a financial advisor. We had misappropriations of money and things, and so I would just tell them to make sure with the NILs and everything going on, make sure you check it, do your checks and balances. If you have someone available to look over a contract that you have to go with, have somebody read those fine prints that are in those contracts. It may be something that you may think it means something or whatever in this contract, but in these terms, it's different. So, you just want to be careful of signing those things. And, I tell people, I'm so old school, man. I like to see hard work, man. Just go out there and work hard. Don't get tied up in with all the things that's going on off the field and social media and everything going on, man. I'm old school. Just bring your lunch pill, go to work, keep your head down. I know it's a different day and age, and guys are able to promote themselves and things like that with social media, and that's something that's great. But you just want to try to tell guys, work hard and do what you're supposed to do on the field, and everything else take care of itself off the field.
We all
Darren,
know
you're-
games in this
Amen.
league. All games are won in this league on practice days. The
Definitely
Saturdays
so.
are fun, but they're won in practice.
You got to
Darren,
put all the
I
hay in the barn.
That's right.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask to do a little history lesson here, which Arkansas and Aggie fans will appreciate. How interesting is it that first, I guess it was first Arkansas, followed by the Aggies, bolt the late great Southwest Conference, joined the SEC, and a lot of Longhorn and Aggie fans would tell you some probably didn't miss that rivalry. I think most really missed it. And Arkansas, in their own right, had some serious rivalry games with the Longhorns. So here they come back, and everything goes full circle. It seems to me that in terms of brand and upside potential, Arkansas's got the money that we know if they're committed to it. And my impression is they're committed to NIL and winning football games. And you got big names like Jerry Jones that believe in you. So it seems to me that's a win to bring back that flavor of that region from decades gone by. I think it only helps Arkansas, maybe because you're playing Texas. You can go into the state of Texas even more than you do. And if you're winning and you've got proof of concept on the field, then you'll be able to hold your own. There's enough players to go around. Aren't you excited? Would you say the Piggy fan base is excited about the future?
I agree with you 100% on that. We always get looked down upon. Texas school, they're this big, great state of Texas, so they're going to look down upon us in Arkansas, man. But if you look back at any time Arkansas has played Texas, anything, man, it's been fired up, man.
Yeah.
I don't like I say. I know people here they may look at it different, but if it's going on in Arkansas or we're playing the University of Texas or Texas A&M, we're going to be fired up. So
Going back to Royal and Broyles.
Hopefully you're going to look at it the way we're looking at it, but we're going to be fired up. And I think a lot of our donors are seeing at this day and age that the scope of college football is changing, and I think they're coming into the new age and joining on board with those things. And I think what we're doing at the University of Arkansas has been great, and I think we're going to continue to do great things. And it's only a matter of time before we're able to turn that hump and start seeing those benefits.
Yeah. And the history of that, it goes back to Darrell Royal and Frank Broyles and those
Right.
games, 50s, 60s. I mean, that's a long time rivalry. And look, y'all's game in Dallas against Texas A&M it's must watch.
It's crazy.
I've loved watching those games. Y'all have had some battles with the Aggies in Dallas, and there's a lot of backing for the Hogs in the Metroplex area. You
definitely have support out here.
A lot of support there.
Darren, I got it. Go ahead.
I'll say even it's been some of those years have been down years for us, and we played against some good A&M teams there. And like I say, we're going to come out and we're going to be fired up and be ready to fight. And I would say those guys have shown that the outcome may have not have been what we wanted to be. And I tell guys there's no moral victories, but as a fan, I like to see the fight, and so that's something that goes a long way.
Y'all,
Darren, I got to say something to everybody here. This is big news. This should be the lead story on SEC Network. November 16th, Texas travels to Fayetteville to play the Razorbacks. Do you know what November 16th is? It's opening day of duck season in the state of Arkansas.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that.
Darren, I remember the games that they used to play a game in Little Rock during the first week or two of duck season. And you couldn't see anybody in the audience because they were all wearing real tree camo.
War Memorial was not the camouflage. You're exactly right.
I mean, what are we going to do?
That's the one thing I love about the state of Arkansas, man. You're gonna have your outdoors enthusiasts, and they're gonna be committed to it. And I can guarantee you, some kind of way you're gonna have guys that are probably in duck blinds or in camps or whatever watching that game. I don't know what time it is, but you're gonna have some guys.
I can assure you, it'll be the 2:30 or the night game. Duck hunting opening shot will be about 6:23 over here in the morning. It ain't going to affect the crowd. I was kidding you.
Right.
It's because it ain't going to be the 11 o'clock game. And
right.
I tell
Right.
you what, there's one thing
right
that trumps duck season in Arkansas, and that's woo.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
especially Arkansas Texas game for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. LSU Arkansas doesn't take a backseat.
Not at all.
I've been at War Memorial Stadium where I swear to goodness, I didn't think Tusk was going to make it out of there. I thought he was going to get shotgun blast, be on a spit.
Hey, Darren, I know I speak for Rob. If you can, hold on, I got get Junior on air here.
SEC.
This is Jack.
Hey, little man.
Hey,
Jack.
Jack's
He's
ready for
already
football
getting
season. Hey, Darren, mark your calendar, September 21st. If you can get to the loveliest village, Rob and I will roll the orange and blue carpet out for you for the Auburn, Arkansas
We'd love
game.
to have you.
Come join us.
All right, I definitely will keep that in mind for sure. Just one thing, I've never got to visit other stadiums in the SEC, man, and so I would be excited about doing.
You had some business going on.
Yeah,
right.
You're kind of focused, you know. You're kind of Tim Horton.
All right, say go Hogs, Jack.
He's going. How old?
Man.
He's what? 18 months now.
Oh no, that my two grandsons, they're heavy leans to Auburn or maybe Alabama. It's a mixed marriage. My daughter and her husband, but they're both just over a year old, Darren, and that's the fun stage of life to get to.
Oh, definitely so, man.
Let me say something real quick about one of our new sponsors, Exo Armor. Based in Auburn with a national and global reach, they're making the Exo Armor arm guard, Exo Armor rib guard, Exo Armor thumb spikes, the fingers splint. They've got the AC guard, the 3D printer. Here's the bottom line. I toured the facility, Darren. This is an amazing deal, and they're all over dealing with high schools and colleges for football and all sports. But let's say a player is injured in the first quarter of a game. If you're a subscriber to the service with the 3D printer and all, you can put the coordinates in on the player. They fire back the information. Beginning of the third quarter, they printed a 3D cast, and that player is back out on the field. You're going to be hearing a lot more, about Exo Armor as we go forward. They're dealing with NFL, Major League, high schools, but Exo Armor, go to the website. Sarah Cooley is the director of marketing out in Portland, but they are going to change the way sports are played. And I think you probably can remember playing hurt more than once.
Definitely so.
Yeah. So proud to have Exo Armor as a sponsor here on Sidelines. But carry
Rob,
on, gentlemen.
November 16th, I know where Darren McFadden is going to be. Texas Longhorns come to Fayetteville. Woo!
That's going to be fun.
I plan on being in the building for that one for sure.
Yeah, that'll be a tight ticket. Lots of camo. Somebody needs to be selling Razorback camo pattern.
I'm sure it's going to be somewhere.
I'm sure. Hey, Darren, I got to ask you, what was it like being a Dallas Cowboy and playing for Jerry Jones? I bet that had to be quite the experience.
You know, I enjoyed it. Grew up a Dallas fan, being from the state of Arkansas. So I grew up a Dallas fan, and being able to come here, I tell people I played for probably two of the most iconic owners in the NFL, being Al Davis and Jerry Jones. I definitely enjoyed being here and playing for the Cowboys organization.
At the Raiders, 4th pick overall, right, Darren?
Yes, sir.
Unbelievable accolade. And then I always think of, when I think of the Raiders, the autumn wind is a Raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you around and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won. Yeah. Was the Raiders experience fun, Darren?
Oh yeah, definitely enjoyed it there. And being around Mr. Davis before he passed away, it was a joy. I'm forever thankful for those organizations, for blessing me the way they blessed me and my family. And it's just a great honor to be able to represent those teams.
What was it like? The Raiders fans, they're not really passionate or anything. What was that like?
Crazy.
SEC prepare you for that?
I always tell people, especially like when I get asked that question from back home and people who know about Arkansas, I tell them Raider fans are Arkansas fans 10 times on steroids, man. They're super passionate, man. It's a joy to be a part of the organization and have those fans behind you for sure.
Yeah. No
it's a different group out there in Oakland.
Oh yeah.
Darren, I'm stealing a text from Rob, but and I promise we're not just telling you what we think you want to hear, but especially for fans in the modern era, which I don't know if that begins in the 90s or some 80s or 90s.
Right.
But I think all three of us who are on the show with you, if you insist on a Mount Rushmore of running backs, especially SEC running backs, I don't want to be disrespectful of other conferences. I just don't follow them that way. Mine would be,
I know what you mean.
I can give you three: Herschel, Bo, Darren McFadden. Somebody pick a fourth. There's several I could consider, Frank.
Well, I mean, I'm a little partial. For his brief period, Leonard Fournette was a bad man.
No objection. No objection.
I enjoyed watching him play for sure.
You know, and look, I got to give my man Kevin
Derrick
Falk,
Henry at Alabama.
Yeah, Derrick Henry, another great running back.
Oh, yeah.
We've had some. Hey, let me tell you something.
It's a ton of them out
we
there.
We have not been cheated in the SEC on great running backs for many, many years.
Darren, and another thing too, we got a few more minutes. Really appreciate you being on here with us. And I want to say something. All of our sponsors, like the great folks, Chad House Industries over in Cherry Valley, Arkansas. And Chad is another one of these Razorbacks. He's a sponsor of our show. They make the Better Roller, the Pulverizer, the Better Chopper. They make the aerators for the catfish farms. And by the way, I was over in Wynn, also CJ's Cajun Station food truck out of Searcy, Arkansas. You know all these towns, Darren.
Nice,
and
yes, sir.
I got the Atchafalaya, which is a boat of crawfish etouffee with two big tender catfish fillets on top of it, a big thing of sausage and chicken gumbo, and I got 3 Cajun crab cakes for my mom and dad. The woman said, "Hey, I'm going to throw in the gumbo for you. You got 89 and 96-year-old parents drinking martinis at night." I love people like that. But they're all Razorback fans, and follow them on Facebook. And I got to say something, too, about, again, another one of our sponsors, the Vitamin Shop, Oxford and Olive Branch, Mississippi. All the stuff you need, prebiotics, probiotics, goo, energy gels. They have people that know what they're talking about. Check out the QR code on the show. Darren, when you look at college football and you talk to players, does Arkansas ask you to come up there and help recruit? Because I would think, just in meeting you for the first time today, Tim Horton told me you're one of the favorite guys he's ever coached. He said he's a great kid from a great family, and he raved about you, and he wasn't kidding. And Coach Nutt, how many times did you hear Coach Nutt say, "Best days of our lives, best days of our lives"?
Man, it's a ton.
I love this stuff.
That's like Harbaugh. Who's got it better than us?
Yeah. Who's got it? But what do you say to these young kids? I like what you said, though. You're old school. Hard work works. But, again, we're here thinking Herschel, Bo, D-Mac, and Derrick Henry. That's our Mount Rushmore. That's the standing that you've – and what's really cool is I was up in Jonesboro yesterday with some people, and, you called me and you were like, "Hey, man, thanks for having me on the show." That's really cool. That makes us feel like – because you're welcome anytime on this show. But, again, give a message to college football. I keep telling people the free market is going to work all this stuff out. We've had things happen before. We're going to get through it. Would you back me up on that and say, hey, NIL, the portal, it comes and goes. At the end of the day, you're going to remember the people that stuck it out and never gave up, aren't you?
And that's the thing where I tell people with the NIL deal, the transfer portal, I enjoy seeing players be able to get paid. I enjoy seeing players be able to leave if their circumstances calls for them leave. Some situations, it's different for guys leaving. Everybody have their own situation. Some I may not agree with, some I do agree with. But, I would tell guys to stay focused on what you do. Remember what you're doing. Don't get wrapped up in the social media and the working on the NIL deals and everything. Once you start trying to focus on those things, and you get sidetracked from what got you there and what
that'll
you're
all
doing.
come.
Then,
if you do your job, that'll all come.
It starts to go downhill, and that's why I say, if you go out there and handle your business, do what you're supposed to do, at the end of the day, everything else will fall into place for you.
That's right.
And Darren, some of that also applies. I would never tell a player, they're free to make their own evaluation when to stick it out with that where you started in college or when to transfer. But I hope, not unlike financial advisory and checks and balances, you gave great advice on that. Some bad stories that abound. But some of these young men and female athletes really need good advisors about the pros and cons of sticking with the program you began. And if you're going to transfer, make sure you feel like there's a bird in the hand, that you're not just hurling yourself into the portal with your strategy being hope, because hope is not a strategy.
You jump in the portal with, this is what I'm intending on doing, and it don't go their way, and so now you're worse than what you started off. Like you say, some situations, they cause for guys to leave, but just because something didn't go your way or whatever, it's a competition. That's what football is all about at the end of the day. And so, that's why I say, walking into a situation, don't go to a school, because they're going to offer me this, they're going to offer me this, or whatever. Go to a school because that's where you want to be. That's where you feel like you had the opportunity to succeed and flourish and everything. And so that's something, you want to be weary of the situation you're walking into, not just because you see the gold and the glitter of the situation.
Sure.
It's always going to be the other side of it as well.
It's like the old saying, the guy that works, does what he loves for a living, never works a day in his life.
Right.
What that place is for you. Right. You can make it work. And look, even if you got to sit for a couple of years, I mean, that's happened to many a player, and actually they've been better for it. Right.
Right. Definitely. So you get the chance to develop and everything. That's something I tell people going into the league. I would be around guys and they were saying, refer to football practice as work, and for me, I'm like, excuse me, but I'm going to football practice, not work. But I know it's looked at as a business and everything, but at the end of the day, it was still football. It was still football practice for me, whether it was a job or not. It was football practice. I just looked at it as I was getting paid to do what I love to do at the end of the day. And so, when guys get caught up,
you'd have paid them to go.
Right.
And I will tell y'all this, and we've talked about this, Doug and Rob and I have talked about this. There should be a college course on every campus that has college football of how to manage your money, how to manage your movements. There should be, because now you've got
marketing
on all
financial literacy
as well. There should be a business and sports management course that is provided to these young student athletes so that they can better understand the best decisions going forward. You can't give someone all this money and then not give them the ability to have good, honest guidance that's looking out for them, and not the hanger-ons that are whispering in their ear and telling them information that might not be best for them.
Not only that, I think because of the portal and NIL, that player, maybe it's a unique player, but who decides to put in 2, 3, some cases even 4 years at the same program, I believe is going to be beloved by that alumni and fan base. And I mean, and some who transfer may still be loved because they were there for a while, but especially if they help you beat your arch rivals. But that goes to even life after NFL football. It opens up doors for your career and other opportunities. So I hope that some young people will think about that.
I would tell people being committed to a program and, having them behind you. No matter the things, I've had my ups and downs through football and life and everything. But, the one thing people from the university in the state of Arkansas is going to always support Darren McFadden. He was a Razorback through and through. And that was something that, I think goes a long way for a lot of people, and they really appreciate it.
Yeah, and Darren, we got to wrap up, and I know you got to go too. But thanks for staying long with us. But I go back to what Commissioner Sankey said at the opening remarks at SEC Media Days. He said, I noticed when I drive in here, living in Birmingham, to Hoover for the SEC baseball tournament every morning, I see tents of Arkansas tent with LSU and Auburn fans. I see an Alabama tent with Florida and Georgia fans. I see a Kentucky tent with Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas fans. He goes, quite honestly, guys, America needs more of what college sports brings to the table. And
brings everybody together.
Yeah. And it ain't nothing pulled people together like college sports. So I want to thank you for being on. Hopefully not your last visit. Looking forward already to your next visit.
So I'm open to coming on for sure.
Hey,
look,
Rob, real quick.
Why we love college sports is because of the people. And at the end of the day, it's about you and your family. And I'm glad that you're doing well. And again, thank you. I know Doug's got something to say, and we'll wrap it up.
Right. I'm knowing we were going to have Darren on this morning. I woke up in cold sweats. This nightmare. I had dreamt that Darren McFadden had one more year of eligibility. I said, no.
I think that boat has sailed way to me.
You were fun to watch. Really fun to watch, Darren. Really were.
Appreciate it, Darren. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Hey, Houston Nutt has that dream too.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's right. The new soap opera, Best Days of Our Lives. Okay. Hey,
oh, yeah.
Folks, thanks everybody for watching. Darren McFadden, Frank Duffy, Doug Dean, executive producer Brendan Martin. We live in the greatest country in the history of the world, folks. Let's go out and make great things happen for people. Thanks for watching the show. Support all of our wonderful sponsors, great folks like Web-Footed Kennels up in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Find them on Facebook. That's Web-Footed, WEBB. And remember, we'll be back Monday. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, guys.
All right. Night, everybody. Good morning, everybody.
In a perfect world, you'd set a health goal and results would happen overnight. In this world, the real world, it takes time, dedication, and the right support to achieve your best self. The Vitamin Shop's health enthusiasts are here to make sure you're not wasting a single moment on the wrong supplements. From the highest quality sports nutrition and superfoods to the most sought after trends, you'll find a huge variety of science-backed solutions for every goal. And the people to help guide you along the path to greatness.
Unbelievably, every 2 minutes in our communities, a child is either bought or sold for sex. I am R.A. Dickey, board member for the Nashville Anti-Human Trafficking Coalition. Join me and millions of others in our fight against human trafficking and for its victims by helping to educate the most vulnerable among us, our middle and high school students. Go to nhtcoalition.org, become a partner, and help keep our families safe, because none of God's children are for sale.